You want healthy, glowing skin, but with all the products, trends, and conflicting advice, it's hard to know what actually works. I understand. I am Dr. Tiina, a former cardiologist and specialist in the skincare development and cosmetic safety expert. I've spent years studying the science of skin. Welcome to Medder Beauty podcast, where we uncover what really matters, break down the science, and give you real expert-backed skincare advice. Whether you're looking to achieve radiant, healthy skin, curious about anti-aging, or want to understand what's really in your product, you are in the right place. Rooted in science and the truth about what your skin actually needs, we'll have in-depth conversations with leading dermatologists, medical experts, and skincare brand founders to bring you the latest innovations, evidence-based insights, and industry secrets that truly make a difference. We are so happy you are here. So let's go. Let's discuss about the skin microbiome. It is one of my very favorite topics because the microbiome science is the most innovative, most fascinating, and the most surprising science discovery in the last 100 years. The whole official concept of the microbiome was defined by the Nobel laureate Joshua Lederberg, who offered this term microbiome in 2000. So it happened only 25 years ago. And in 2007 started the huge global international scientific project called Human Microbiome Project, following the very successful International Human Genome Project. Human Genome Project deciphered the human genome, human genes, and Human Microbiome Project was created to decipher the community of microorganisms living with the human body. And before starting this project, the total understanding was that our body should be clean. And bacteria, fungi, viruses, they've been seen mostly as something pathological, what we should eliminate. And it was definitely about the skin, because I remember in my university years, in the course of the microbiology, which I loved a lot, we've been speaking about different microorganisms, mostly about non-beneficial microorganisms in our skin. We've seen bacteria, which we now call Cutibacterium acnes, as a purely acne-causing bacteria. And if you find this bacteria on the skin, it was a sign that we have a skin condition called acne caused by this bacteria. And now this understanding totally changed because we came to this scientifically proven hypothesis. Then we need all these microorganisms to survive. We need them for our life. They are absolutely essential, and we delegate a lot of body functions, including very important vital body functions, to these small friends, to bacteria, viruses, or fungi, without even knowing about it. And fun fact, we have so many bacteria and viruses in our body, then the amount is bigger than the amount of our cells. So yes, technically, we are hosts to this community. But who is the host really? It is the question which should be answered in the future, probably. What is the difference between the microbiome and microbiota? Probably you heard the second term as well. Microbiota, it's a smaller term because it defines only cells of the microorganisms living in the human body. So they are definitely cells of bacteria and cells of fungi. But when we are speaking about the microbiome by the definition of Joshua Lederberg, we are speaking not only about cells, but about collective genome of these microorganisms. Why it is so important? Because microbiome includes viruses as well, with all the genetic materials. Because as probably after COVID pandemic, then viruses have no cell membranes. They're pure information traveling around us and living with our body. And to make things a little bit more complicated, I will tell you about the whole genome. It is the next concept following the concept of the microbiome. When we speak about the microbiome, we accept the reality then we are never alone. Even if you sit and watch the TV thinking that you are absolutely lonely in this room. You're not lonely. You have billions of friends watching TV and eating popcorns with you. But the whole genome, it is our body combined with this microbiome. And whole genome, that's who we are. It is an ecosystem of the human body with the microbiome. And we are absolutely inseparable. And whole genome, it's very complicated host and microbiome interactions, creating this whole creation when human body is only one part of it. And actually, it's a very beautiful concept because can you imagine, since the very moment when embryo just starts to form, it's already in the contact with the microbiome. And actually, a few years ago, we've been thinking that the first contact with the microbiome happens in the moment when the baby is born. But actually, it is not, because we have microbiome everywhere. Not only in our gut, not only on our skin, but also inside us, even in the brain and in the blood, we have some part of the circulating, the microbiome. And we are living in these symbiotic relationships when we are useful to each other. We are the host providing our microbiome with the environment to survive and thrive and live. And microbiome, in exchange, help us to function, helping us to breathe, helping us to live, helping us to protect ourselves in the first place, because it is our microbiome which teach each cell of our immune system how to react to the hostile external world. And even the competition between different bacteria, viruses, and fungi is beneficial for our body. We are the planet for our microbiome. Each of us, each human being, each animal on the planet Earth is the planet with its own flora and their own humanity. But in the same time, as a human being, we are just a very small part of the microbiome on the planet. So it feels actually wonderful to be the planet and the part of something very big in the same time. So for me, it's really changed my point of view. It's breakthrough not only in the medical science, not only in the biological science as well, but for me, it's breakthrough of the philosophical concept about our place in this world. Yes, we are something small, but we are very useful for our planet. We can help our planet, but we can behave like a pathological microbiome and can be dangerous for our planet. But in the same time, we are something so big. We are the whole planet, and the whole our microbiome, billions and billions of microorganisms, depends on us. What is the normal microbiome? Do we know about it? Actually, it is not the definition of normality in the microbiome science. I love this moment from the Addams Family when Morticia said, normal is an illusion. What is normal to the spider? It is a chaos to the fly. And it is true. It's the whole Addams Family situation. Because we have these billions of different microorganisms combining 4 different kingdoms of microorganisms: bacteria, viruses, fungi, and prions, and even protozoa, living on our skin, living in our guts, but now we are speaking about the skin, and interacting to each other, creating some competition and some environment and some civilization living on our skin. And to simplify the situation, scientists split this community of the microorganisms to 2 big groups. First one, the resident microorganisms, also core microbiota. They are very stable. They live on the skin from the very beginning, from the moment when you are born. And this resident microbiota, it's like your microbial viral fingerprints. And it keeps some common things with your family microbiome, even with your granddad or grandmother, even if you didn't see them in your life, you still have the part of the microbiome living on our skin. So it's very unique. It's like a fingerprints in our body. And also we have another group, transient microorganisms. Also we can call them tourists. They are visitors. And they're visiting our body, different area of our skin, when we are in the contact with something new. Like all tourists, when they visit and they contribute to our benefits, to our economy, we love them. But when tourists, they behave aggressively, when they do something inappropriate, which probably have been good in their community, when they live like a resident, but a different cultural tradition, and they're coming to our skin, and they're starting to do something which was appropriate on the skin of the hamster, but not on the human skin. Tourists, they are not staying with us, with very few exceptions. They are visiting for the few days, maybe for few weeks or few months, and they are leaving us after that. Biggest part of our microbiome, they are still bacteria. And we have 4 big groups of bacteria called actinobacteria, firmicutes, proteobacteria, and bacteroids. So they are all different, and they are forming this bacterial community. And on our skin, the most important bacteria for us, they are staphylococci, which I see now it's a common practice to call them stuffs, which I am uncomfortable for calling staphylococcus stuff. It's literally lack of respect. Staphylococcus should be staphylococcus. Also, they are Cutibacterium. Amongst them, the most important, they are Cutibacterium acnes, which we've seen like acne-causing bacteria. But now we understand that they are beneficial, and only when the environment is changing, we have too much of sebum on our skin, we have this overgrowth of Cutibacterium, and they become aggressive. Once again, exactly like in the human society. When there are too many of us in the small town, it always creates some tension. And it's what happens on the skin. And also there are a lot of lactobacteria which acidify our skin, maintains a healthy microbiome, healthy pH, and helps to maintain the healthy microbiome. And they contribute a lot to the skin barrier and to the skin health in general. Obviously, there are a lot of other bacteria, but I think if you remember, then we have epidermalis staphylococcus, which is very beneficial for our skin. And we have this aureus golden staphylococcus, which is nasty and pathological and very much present in the atopic dermatitis, sensitive skin, and in skin infections. We have this Cutibacterium acnes, which is not really acne causing, but sometimes yes. So hello, everything is very complicated. And we have lactobacteria. You are good. If you know these 3 names, you can get the first batch about the microbiome knowledge, at least about the skin. Speaking about the fungi, there are so few of them. Less than 1% of our microbiome, they are fungi, and most of them, they are fungi molluscea. If they are overgrown, they can create conditions like dandruff in our hairs, or they can make our skin flaking. So they contribute a lot to our skin health, they contribute a lot to the microbiome, but unfortunately we know less about them, and it's very developing area of the skin microbiome science right now. But we start to understand how we can make them behave like we want it, and how we can use them, and how we can manage them to restore the skin health and maintain the skin health. And another part of the microbiome is absolutely enigmatic virome. So the part of microbiome formed by viruses. And since 2020, after COVID pandemic, everyone knows everything about viruses and probably afraid of them. But viruses are not the same. There's a huge community of viruses, and most of viruses residing and living on our skin as a resident, they are beneficial. Can you imagine viruses protect our skin against nasty bacteria? Because they can literally in minutes create this special component, special new viruses called phages, which can kill selectively exactly only nasty bacteria, preserving the beneficial bacteria on our skin. So it's one of the best instruments to keep our skin non-infected. And also the big part of the viruses family, they protect us from the cancer. There are a lot of new discovery in this area, and now we understand better why we need viruses. They can be very protective. In the same time, as Cutibacterium acnes, they can overgrow, they can change, so they can contribute in the cancer development. But it is the new hope for the medicine, because very probably this new discovery in the viral microbiome will help us to treat skin cancer and will help us to find a new way for the cancer treatment globally. Why we need this microbiome? What microbiome does for our skin anyway? First of all, our skin as our body is protected by the microbiome, because microbiome act as these small teachers for every immune cells of our body, including skin immune cells. They activate receptors. They teach our cells how to recognize enemies, how to recognize friends, how to react only to some hostile environment. And they modulate the skin immunity. If you live in some, let's say, hostile environment, there are a lot of infections around, your microbiome and your skin microbiome included will adapt, will produce more of antibacterial substances, more of antibacterial bacteria and antibacterial viruses to protect you better. Because the microbiome is what helps us to adapt to the new environment, to adapt to the new condition. And also, the microbiome is very important to produce some substances of the skin, because not only bacteria and fungi themselves, they can produce some beneficial, useful substances. For example, this famous Cutibacterium acnes produce very powerful antioxidants, more powerful than vitamin E or vitamin C together. And these antioxidants protect our skin from free radicals, toxins, and even ultraviolet. So when you have enough of this Cutibacterium acnes living on your skin is naturally protected from the ultraviolet. And they do a lot of other things. They can moisturize our skin. They can help us to improve our water-holding substances. They can be anti-inflammatory. They can be calming. But in the situation when our microbiome is changing, it can inverse, and our microbiome pathologically changed can be our enemy. Exactly, once again, like a human society, like animals. They can live all together, coexist all together, and cohabit, creating this perfect ecology in some area, country, continent. But in the same time, they can start the war. And when the war started, it's just absolutely damaging for everybody, including the nature in this area. And for me, it's a beautiful analogy of the microbiome and the planet. So what you probably should say about the skin microbiome, some facts. So first of all, diversity. We have thousands and thousands of different species of bacteria, fungi, viruses, and our microorganisms residing on our skin. We cannot, even if I start now to read the list of these species, I will not finish in 30 minutes and probably in 30 hours. Microbiome is unique. It's your microbial, viral, fungi fingerprint. Each person has absolutely unique combination, and we can recognize your family by your traits in the microbiome. Also, the microbiome is very much dependent of the environment. So the microbiome in the area when there are a lot of sebum, for example, our skin of the face, right, nose area, T area of the skin, is richer in one kind of bacteria, which are living in this sebum-produced area. But another place, when we don't have sebum glands, for example, neck or décolleté area, microbiome will be very different. And also all external factors, like weather, clothing, hygiene, chemicals, everything, including skincare and cosmetic, affects the composition of the microbiome. It can be beneficial and it can be unfriendly. There are a lot of very interesting research about the microbiome and some fun facts. For example, if you spend 20 minutes in the ocean water for the upcoming 24 hours, some ocean bacteria will live on your skin, improving your wound healing skin ability. So if you live next to the ocean and to the sea, it is a reason to go to swim more often if you can do it. Pets and animals, they are sharing the microbiome with us. And the most friendly domestic pets, they're puppies and dogs. If you have a dog, you share the skin microbiome, and actually dog's microbiome is anti-inflammatory and helps to prevent allergic reactions, skin irritation, and sensitivity. And it is a good decision to adopt puppy when you have small children at home who are genetically predisposed for skin atopic reaction. And it is a good decision for elderly person as well, because they suffer from the skin dryness and from the skin irritations and inflammation. But if they are in the contact with a nice, lovely dog, this danger will be less prominent. It's difficult to say how important it is, but let me say, we cannot live without the skin microbiome. We cannot live without our microbiome. So when we using skincare, we should think about our skin microbiome, and we should be very careful, because if you kill your microbiome, you leave our skin without protection, without immune protection, without immune reaction. So it can be really dangerous. And it is an explanation why we don't use disinfectant for the skin anymore, especially for the treatment of the skin condition and especially in the skincare. This time when we use alcohol or chlorhexidine, there also has been. I hope that we will forget about benzoyl peroxide in the near future. When I'm invited to the microbiome conferences and when I'm speaking with the scientists from academia and I tell them that we still use skincare based on the benzoyl peroxide, they cannot believe how old-fashioned it is and how contradictory it is for everything we know about the role of the microbiome. You heard a lot about the microbiome-friendly skincare. What is the microbiome-friendly skincare? You will be surprised. That's a skincare which does not affect your microbiome. It probably helps you to promote and to maintain the beneficial microenvironment on the skin. But it does not change the skin pH, it does not disinfect the skin, does not contain any antibacterial components, and even it doesn't change the sebum production. If it is friendly, it doesn't change anything. And probably you think, why we need something which is not efficient, right? Which does not change anything on our skin. Actually, we need it because our microbiome is stable, and when your microbiome is healthy and your skin is comfortable, we should protect it. Healthy microbiome equal to the healthy, happy skin. And healthy skin ages slower. Healthy skin feels better. Healthy skin develops less of wrinkles. Healthy skin is better protected from the ultraviolet and better protected from the hyperpigmentation. To protect the healthy microbiome, it should be the goal of the daily skincare in the first place. So it should work in the harmony with the skin natural system. What are microbiome-friendly ingredients? You know them all. They're very popular. For example, hyaluronic acid, carrageenan, all hydrating ingredient like glycerin, aloe juice extract, a lot of plants-derived extract without antibacterial property. Peptides are microbiome-friendly. Proteins like collagen or soy fibers, silk fibers are microbiome-friendly. Plant stem cells, plants antioxidants, vitamin C, vitamin E, they are all very much microbiome-friendly. What are microbiome-unfriendly substances, which can be used to change microbiome if you need it, but they cannot be used in the skincare which is aiming to maintain the skin health. First of all, there are hydroxy acids, glycolic acid, salicylic acid, pyruvic acid, citric acid, name it, all of them. They're unfriendly to the healthy microbiome because they modulate the skin pH, and microbiome is very sensitive to the skin pH. Unfortunately, active form of retinol, like retinol itself, retinoic acid, and retinol aldehyde, they are speeding up the skin renewal so efficiently, then it is an action unfriendly to the healthy microbiome because it's destabilized. It changes the skin surface, it changes the skin environment. So it's very difficult to survive and stay stable in this situation. So resident microflora is changing by daily use of active form of retinol. Benzoyl peroxide, which I hope will be banned from the skincare, and essential oils. Most of essential oils are antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. It is a good action, and very often we need this effect. And traditionally, for hundreds of years, essential oils been largely used because they help to protect human beings from the infections. But speaking about the skincare, we should be much more careful about essential oils when we know everything what we know now about the microbiome. So we need microbiome-friendly skincare for protecting, moisturizing, supporting skincare. It promotes the skin barrier, it reduces skin inflammation, and supports skin health, simply. So all microbiome-friendly skincare should be used to maintain results of the active skincare or some kind of aesthetic treatments and skin therapy, and it is preventative skincare, including age prevention. It prevents age-related changes of the skin, so it is very important part. It's essential skincare for healthy skin. But sometimes our skin is not healthy, so we need this microbiome-oriented skincare, which regulates skin microbiome selectively and, most importantly, positively. It restores microbiome health when the basis is unhealthy. So we use this microbiome-oriented skincare in case of acne treatment, rosacea treatment, for sensitive skin, for dry skin, and even for correction and some prevention of age-related changes, because our microbiome is changing with an age. And if you are able to maintain more useful microbiome will maintain the useful skin. There are two categories of ingredients able to interact with our microbiome. First, they are selective, and second are non-selective. So non-selective ingredients and products, they don't select anything in the microbiome. They kill everything. So they're like bombs. They just kill the microbiome and sterilize, disinfect the skin. Alcohol, chlorhexidine, everything we use in the medical environment, in hospital, in the surgery ward, to sterilize our hands, to sterilize gloves before going to some surgical intervention. Because when you go inside the body, when the skin is damaged, you should not add any new bacteria inside. But when the skin is intact, we don't need this product, and they can be strategically dangerous, so they can really damage the skin health in the perspective. When you use them once or twice, nothing bad happens to the skin, because our microbiome, you remember, residents are very stable. Once you destroy the fields and the homes, they will rebuild it quickly. In children, they rebuild it in minutes. In elderly person, it can take days. But anyway, if it happens once or twice, it is not so damaging. But if you use some disinfectant substances on the daily basis, it will be very damaging for the skin health. So you absolutely should avoid it. Also, we have different substances which are able to modulate the microbiome. For example, we have prebiotics, probiotics, postbiotics, and metabiotics. Whole is whole. Prebiotics, they are substances which can be used by our bacteria and fungi as a food. So they're compounds serving as a food source for beneficial microorganisms. And they cannot be served as a food for pathological microorganisms. So you apply some polysaccharides on the skin, for example, some plant extract, like extract of yacun, Mexican water chestnut. And it acts as a prebiotic. It promotes the growth of all beneficial bacteria on your skin. And in the same time, it suppresses the growth of inflammatory bacteria on the skin. There are many of substances like this we are using. I love yacun, I love BioE. coli, I love some derivative of acacia, gum, and there are many of them, including, for example, sweetener xylitol, which helps to combat skin dryness because it suppresses the growth of some fungi creating this dryness and promotes the growth of water-holding bacteria. So we have the whole collection of prebiotics right now. Probiotics, they are bacteria themselves. And sometimes fungi, yeast, too, we use them. And these bacteria, mostly in the skincare formulation, we use fragments of these bacteria, not the whole bacteria. For the food supplements, it's easy because you can use them in the dry form. In the skincare formulation, it's very difficult to keep them intact, to be able to interact with the skin. So we are using bacteria. So technically, they should be called postbiotics, bacterial and yeast fragments. But it's some confusion because a lot of manufacturers and a lot of marketing people just call everything probiotics. So when you see name of bacteria or fungi, which looks a little bit strange on the skincare label, they are probiotics and postbiotics. And they promote the growth beneficial bacteria of the same family, which they are, and they help to restore the healthy skin balance. So if you need, for example, more of water-holding, acidifying skin bacteria, you will add fragments of lactic bacteria on your skin. If you need more of calming bacteria with atopic skin, you will add more, for example, Nitrosomonas bacteria, and so on. You can find this difficult name in a lot of publication and scientific papers, but it's difficult to remember everything, so don't worry. Just look for the bacteria names on the label. And the last category is the metabiotics. Metabiotics, they are biofermented plants with bacteria or yeast in the complex. The simplest example, that's wine extract. That could be resveratrol derived from the red grape and from the red wine, technically, with wine-making bacteria. We use them in the anti-age formulations because they help to boost collagen synthesis in the skin. See, I love kimchi a lot. Extract of kimchi, I'm using it in the moisturizers and different active serums, in deodorants, literally everywhere, because it acts as a preservative for the skincare formula, but in the same time, it restores the microbiome health, brightens the skin, moisturizes the skin, and calms down the inflammation. Also, we are using Japanese sake, the rice fermented by sake-making bacteria, great for the sensitive skin, and many other biofermented complex called metabiotics. So when we use this complex of prebiotics, probiotics, metabiotics, and some specific ingredients helping to moisturize the skin, because the microbiome love to have free water. Without the free water on the skin surface, microbiome cannot stay healthy. So skin should be well moisturized to help microbiome to maintain its health. And when we use all these substances together, we can create some specific formulation, helping to calm down the inflammation in acne and prevent the formation of comedones, or calm down the redness in rosacea skin, or calm down the dryness of the skin and restore the skin barrier using not only some organic oils and lipids and ceramides, but also bacteria and fungi, restoring this barrier for us. Same for sensitive skin and same for age-related changes in the skin. When I launched the brand in 2009, there have been 6,000 ingredients registered for cosmetic use. Now I checked it out today, and now we have 30,070 ingredients standardized and registered for the use in skincare and cosmetics. And so many of them are innovative, efficient, and so many of them, they been designed based on our new understanding of the skin physiology, of the skin life, of the skin health, based on the microbiome science. I really hope we'll use them much more. And you will see prebiotics and probiotics and postbiotics, metabiotics, all kinds of biotics in each formulation of the skincare. Because it is a shame to speak only about retinol and salicylic acid when you have 30,000 of amazing ingredients which we can use to maintain our skin health, prevent wrinkles, prevent age-related changes, and most importantly, to maintain our skin comfort. When we care about the microbiome cares about us. Thank you for joining us today on the Matter Beauty podcast. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an expert skincare tip. Have a question or topic you'd like for me to cover? Send me a message at podcast@matterbeauty.com and let's keep the conversation going. Also, you can visit matterbeauty.com and discover Matter Skincare, which I created. And if you enjoyed the show, I'd love if you left a review. It helps others find the podcast and keeps us growing. Until next time, stay healthy, stay glowing, and take care of your skin.